Hey guys, welcome to downtown Portland, Oregon. And over on the TFL Off-Road channel, I do a video series called Ride Along With Me, where I take you on a trail guide of some of the best trails in Colorado. But today, being here in Portland, Oregon, and being here with the new Buick Enclave, I thought, you know what? Let's do a video where we go out to the coast and you ride along with me in the brand new Buick Enclave. Now normally, this video series isn't a review of the car, but in this case, since we've got the brand new Buick, we'll talk about the car. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the route, and that's a beautiful drive. We're starting in downtown Portland, heading up and over the mountains into the Tillamook Forest, and ending up at Cape Meares on the Pacific Ocean. And I got to tell you, I can't wait. And luckily, while I may not know a lot about Portland, my videographer Cole, who's behind the camera, does. He grew up here, so I'll be asking him some questions along the way. Let's start by starting the car and talking about this trim level, the new Buick Enclave, which you can see in front of us. It comes in two different versions, actually three different versions. There's the base preferred, there's the Sport Touring, or the ST, which is the one that's driving off right now, and then there's the Avenir, which is the top of the line. Now we're in the Sport Touring, and they all come with this massive 30-inch digital display, and you can have them with Super Cruise, so we'll be trying that along the route as well. And I hear tell that Super Cruise is one of the best autonomous driving software packages out there, but we're going to find out if it works not only on the highway, but also on the secondary roads. So let's hit the road and check out downtown Portland. If you've watched Portlandia, you would know that Portland is this kind of town of wacky people who wear Baroque costumes at dinner parties. Or if you watch some of the news, you'll know that it's a dystopian madhouse of drug-addicted homeless people. And right now, at least what I'm seeing, is none of the above. I've been to Portland a bunch. First time I came here was about 10 years ago, and I fell in love with it because it's such a quirky, cool little town. And I remember thinking to myself, I'd really love to live here. And in fact, I liked it so much that I decided to book a holiday here with my lovely wife and my son Tommy. And 10 years ago, we came out here over Thanksgiving. And what we didn't know, Cole, which you know, is that, there are 3 months of good weather? Cole's saying, yes, there are 3 months. And by the time you get to Thanksgiving, those 3 months are way over. And we spent a week here, and it rained sideways. That was not pleasant. But in the summertime, it's just glorious. Now, today, apparently it's supposed to get to 100 degrees, which I did not know was possible out here on the northwest coast of America. But apparently in the summer it can get very hot. The good news is we're going up into the mountains and then to the coast, and it's supposed to be 20 degrees cooler. Right now it's a lovely 73 degrees. And if you're looking at the streets of Portland, you'll note that it is not, well, okay, there's one homeless dude. I was about to say a mecca of homeless folk. There is one over there. But it's not the dystopian nightmare that some people have made it out to be. In fact, it's very nice and I would say lovely and very pleasant place to be. It's a kind of a chill downtown, and the other great thing about Portland is it's a really great foodie town. I'll give you another quick story. When I was out here, I wanted to bring my lovely family good touch and a good taste of Portland, so I stood in line for 45 minutes at Voodoo Donuts. If you know Voodoo Donuts, they make these really crazy donuts. For instance, they make a jelly-filled donut that looks like a little man with a pretzel sticking through his heart, and the jelly is pouring out of the pretzel hole. And so I stood in line for 45 minutes, and then, they have these very recognizable pink boxes that they put the donuts in. So I had the pink box, and I took it through TSA, and everybody's at TSA is like, hey, can I have a donut? And I had one for Tommy and one for Barb, my wife. And so I was like, no. And then I got on the plane, and the flight attendants were like, hey, can I have a donut? And I was like, no. And then on the little train at the DIA in Denver at the airport, I started looking at the box, and I figured out that not only is Voodoo Donuts from Oregon, here in Portland specifically, but they have locations in Denver and now in Boulder. So that was a little disconcerting to figure out that I had brought donuts from Portland all the way to someplace where you could buy them in Denver. But you know what? Let's do this. Let's bring up the music and let's show you a little bit more of the road to the Pacific Coast. I better put my sunglasses on because it is going to be sunny and hot today. But the other sense you get about Portland and the suburbs around it is that these roads were built a long time ago, and they were built not in the traditional Midwestern way where I grew up, where you just go straight and through stuff, but they go under and around and over things. So lots of tunnels, lots of bridges over rivers and lakes, which I suspect makes for some miserable traffic as Portland has become much more popular. And while we're in traffic on our way up to the mountains, let me tell you about this car. Like I said, this is the brand new Buick Enclave, and it is the cousin to the Traverse, the Chevy build, and the Acadia built by GMC, and they all come with only one powertrain, which is a non-electrified 2.5 liter turbo that produces 328 horsepower and is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And what makes this car sort of interesting is what's behind us, and that is it's a 3-row family hauler. Not as big as a Suburban or a Tahoe, but kind of the mid-sized 3-row, so it competes with cars like the Kia, Hyundai Palisade, and Telluride, a very popular segment. And when this car is equipped, it will tow up to 5,000 pounds. And I was having a conversation with the engineer, the chief engineer, I believe, about this car, and she said that it does not come with a brake controller, which in places like California is a problem because you really can't legally tow over 3,000 pounds without a brake controller, even though it does have a towing package availability. The other thing that this has, which is unique, is that it's the only Buick that is available with Super Cruise, and we'll give that a shot once we get out of the city. I'm really not curious about what it drives like on the highway. I've used it on the highway before. We had a Hummer EV, and in my opinion, Super Cruise is the best of the autonomous driving systems. It's the most natural. If there's a truck next to you, it doesn't push you into the truck. It kind of pushes you away from the truck. And compared to Blue Cruise or, God help you, Tesla's full self-driving, when you're on a mapped highway, it really does do a great job of keeping you safe and sound without having your hands on the wheel. We've got different drive modes, so you can see we've got tow haul, snow, ice, sport, and tour. And I think if we're going to be getting into a little bit of twisties, I'm going to put it on sport. And that does two things, according to Buick. It changes the throttle mapping, which makes for a little bit more active accelerator pedal, and it changes the steering feel, making it a little bit more sporty. Now, of course, the 3-row family hauler is never going to be very, very sporty, but, it doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of fun. Now, let's talk about the driving dynamics of this car. Buick says that they've got double pane glass, that this is one of most quiet Buicks that they've ever designed. They're very proud of this floating deck right here. I'm very proud of the fact that they have an actual volume knob. And of course, you've got your phone charging right where it should be, where you can actually see your phone. And then this 30-inch screen is very elegant and certainly relatively easy to navigate. Kind of all your driving instructions are in front of you, and then everything from music to navigation to your apps is to the right. You also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and then you have the Android Assistant. So I don't like doing it, but you can. Google, turn up the temperature.
Sure, turning up the temperature by 4 degrees.
Wow, that worked. Google, tell me a joke. Try again. Google, tell me a joke.
Did you hear about the baby cats who love doing pranks?
No.
They were just kidding around.
They were just kidding around. Oh yeah, that is the worst of dad jokes. All right, look at this road. Look how beautiful this is. It's just super windy. And now that we're in sport mode, I can kind of see how this Enclave handles these twisty roads. Yeah, it's not bad. I would say there's a little bit of turbo lag. When you think about it, a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo that puts out 328 horsepower seems like a very small engine to be pushing around a very large car, especially a 3-row SUV. And yet, that's where we're at today. It's kind of like Andre's truck. He's also got a little 4-banger. Puts out about the same amount of horsepower, another GM product, and it does just fine. It's a little coarse. There's a little bit of kind of like wind-up noise as the turbo spools up. And it does take a little bit of time for the vehicle to get going. But, you know, I don't want to hold it up to a stick that it's not meant to be held up to. In other words, Buick says that the average buyer of this vehicle is between 35 and 55 years old. They're guys, and they have an average income of at least $100,000 to $150,000. But somehow this feels to me like it's the kind of vehicle that you would use if you had a large family and you decided that you wanted something other than a minivan. And this lets you haul around your family without all the associated stigma that a minivan has. So right now we're starting to climb up into the Tillamook Forest, and I just checked my watch and we're only at about 800 feet above sea level. So I'm kind of curious as to how high we'll get. But I do know, at least according to Cole, that it does snow up here. So we might get high enough where... Hey Cole, is there skiing up here? Can people go skiing up here? Is there a ski area?
No skiing.
No skiing, all right. Hey, and I got Super Cruise. So let me see if I can activate it. There, didn't like that. It went red. Super Cruise unavailable. I think I had it set too high. Nope, now it's unavailable again. It was available for a second, and this is a pretty windy road, so I was curious to see if it would actually drive, but it's unavailable again. And really this is where, like I was saying earlier, the fun of driving comes in. So why you'd want to have the car drive itself here, I don't understand, because I'm really having fun right now. But it is pretty rough. And this is where, if I had a sports car, which by the way, Buick does not build, like a Corvette, hey Chevy, then I think that would be really fun to come up here and really experience the best of Oregon roads. And there's a lot of slow moving vehicle turnouts, which is nice too, so you can do a lot of passing. But I'm doing the speed limit, and I don't feel like I really want to go much faster in the Enclave, even though I do have it in sport mode. So we've kind of reached the limit of this thing's sporty potential, and that is a curvy road going up a mountainside. But I've always loved to review cars for how they're meant to be used, not how they can be used. I'll give you an example of that. I was on a Volkswagen program, this is maybe now 8 years ago, where we were reviewing the Jetta Hybrid. And I was with a car and driver journalist, and fortunately he's passed away right now, but I don't want to name names, it's just not cool. But we were in New Mexico on a twisty road like this in the forest, and he was flogging that thing to within an inch of its life. And I was riding passenger, and I was just a little terrified. I mean, we were doing well over 3 digits on a twisty road like this, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't think anybody will ever drive a Jetta Hybrid like it's a Formula One car, and yet that's exactly what we were doing. And I said to him, I said, you know, this is not the way people are going to use it. And his point was that if you want to know the dynamics and the handling of a vehicle, you got to push it to the limit. And I thought about that, and I thought to myself, this is all true, but at the end of the day, really, a 3-row SUV is not going to get pushed to the limit unless it's, in a Hollywood movie where it's just been carjacked. So I think I found the limit of this. And what's more important probably is just not the way that it drives, but the way that it works. And so far, as a family hauler, this seems to work very well. All right, well, we have reached the Tillamook Forest Center, which is this kind of cool little way stop on our journey. And you can go inside there and you can check out the history of the forest here and the type of trees that grow here. Kind of all the stuff you would have done when you were a kid in school and you wanted to go on a field trip, which is always better than sitting around in math class, at least for me. But usually what happens here is there'll be a little place where we can stop, have a little bit of a libation, and what I mean by that, of course, is nothing alcoholic. And then hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll have some of the engineers here as well, and we can interview them. Last night I had dinner with one of the lead engineers, Stephanie, and the cool thing about Stephanie is that she not only does the Buicks, but also the Chevy and the GMC version of this car. And I'm gonna go look for and see if I can have a quick chat with her. But I think over here you got the car confection guys reviewing their vehicle. All the YouTubers are here doing their bit. There's Sophion. I think he's got the Avenir. So we're gonna wave to him. There he is. And then of course, way down here is Alex from Alex on Autos doing his stand-ups. So I'll wave to him as well. But let me go see if I can find Stephanie and do a quick interview with her. She's supposed to be here somewhere. I asked her if I could talk to her about what it's like to design a vehicle and which of the three brands is her favorite, which is a tough question when you think about it and you're an engineer in charge of all three of them. Stephanie, thank you very much. We had a nice dinner last night.
Yes, very nice.
We were chatting about your role with Jim, and you've been with Jim how long?
Almost 30 years.
30 years, wow,
Yeah.
long time.
I started when I was 2.
Yeah.
I wish.
Well, you look like it.
Thank you.
But you're not just in charge of the Buick, right? You're in charge of all the different versions of this vehicle. So the Chevy Trax, the GMC Acadia as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have the Traverse and the Acadia as well.
Yeah. And so how do they differ? So, if I'm a shopper and I want one of these, I know, for instance, the Chevy is much more off-road worthy, or you can get a more off-road worthy. But how do you separate the three different brands?
Well, I think first off, design did an amazing job,
Yeah.
right? When you're in the interior of any of these vehicles, they are definitely unique, right? The Buick, for example, definitely the screen. You'll know you're in a Buick versus a GMC versus a Chevy.
So more upmarket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then the Buick is known for their luxury, right? So they want the quiet. So we put everything in. It's all in, right? A lot of standard. Safety across all three, right? We don't talk about safety as much as we used to about, now it's all standard, right?
Yeah.
We don't want people to have to buy a package in order to get safety. So a lot of standard safety. On the Buicks, we've got a lot of extra content that is not typically available. Usually it's an option. Heated front seats, for example, right? Like on everything. On the Avenir, then you can obviously get for example, then that's ventilated and massaging in the front, standard. So a lot of just standard stuff that we put in these Buicks.
Now, there are three models in this lineup. There's the ST, the Avenir,
And the Preferred.
And the Preferred. So this is kind of the sporty one.
Yes.
I say that because the grille is blacked out. It's a little bit more aggressive in kind of its design language.
Yeah. The ST has definitely got the styling to look kind of a little bit more sporty. The steering wheel's got the flat bottom. You've got a little bit more blacked out interior, just a sporty feel to it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, me too.
And usually, I'm sure you know this better, but when you're given three choices, the middle one is kind of the one that becomes the best seller. And this seems to have enough of the stuff you want without necessarily having the stuff that's very expensive, so you don't go up that much.
I I like the ST also for the styling. To me, it's got everything. When I am in the Avenir, though, the wow factor of that interior, it draws me kind of to it. I love that idea of all of that, the luxury that it just kind of eschews.
All right, so I got to ask you this: as an engineer, right? What kind of gets you motivated in the morning when you get to the office? So, when we talked last night, you said problem solving. You like to solve problems. So, what problems have you solved here?
I would say our biggest challenge is everybody likes larger and larger tires.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Everybody is into their tires and
22s
wheels.
are the new 20s, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so Buick is no exception to that. They wanted to go bigger. The nice thing about these vehicles, with them being taller, wider, longer, we were able to package the 22. With that, then, becomes the challenge of actually engineering and integrating that into the system, such that you still get your nice ride isolation, your handling, everything that you want to still get your Buick customer, but now with that 22-inch tire.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is when you go with the 22, right, you get less sidewall, which means you get less cushion from the tire, which means you have to have better suspension so that you don't feel all the road harshness.
Exactly. So the nice thing about with the Buick, on the 20-inch, on the ST and on the Preferred, you get the 20-inch, but you get Passive Plus tuning. So it's a little bit of a better damper. The valving in that is less compromised for the ride and the handling trade-off, so you get that. The nice thing on the 22 on the Avenir is we get this CDC tuners, dampers. So with that, you get the extra benefit that overcompensates the fact that you've got the 22s on there.
All right, I'll ask you my kind of softball question. What are you proudest of?
I would
at the end of the day, you're the one
probably say that I am very proud of the fact that when you are in these vehicles and we're doing all the tuning, that we really try to do it not only for each tire differently so that you get that special damper of ride isolation and handling for every single tire, but a Buick is different than a Chevy and it's different than a GMC, and we work really hard to do that. The team really puts a lot into that.
A lot of noise, vibration, harshness tuning goes into the different versions of this car.
Yes.
If I'm hearing you right.
Yes, and active noise cancellation and all that we do there, and the content that we put in to isolate the engine noise, and these vehicles with their laminated glass and thicker glass and all that integrated to just give you that luxury feel.
So have you done this drive before? It's spectacular.
I did it yesterday, and it is gorgeous.
It is.
The other thing that with this route that I think really highlights it is people think Super Cruise, they think about adaptive cruise, they think about highways, right? I'm going to get on the highway, I'm going to set my speed, I'm going to just go. And yes, totally yes. But now you'll notice on these roads, these are just 2-lane roads, Super Cruise enabled, and you can pretty much get to lunch now with Super Cruise enabled, and that's just game changing.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Thanks, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so Stephanie said it's supposed to work on this. So look at that, Super Cruise on. I'll be darned, it does work. I've got the speed set to 47, and the speed limit here is 55, so I'm gonna pump it up a little bit, get it to the speed limit. There we go. You know what, let's go crazy. Let's go 1 mile over the speed limit, because that's the way we roll here at TFL. And let's see how this Buick does navigating these kind of twisty roads coming down the Tillamook Forest. Now, it does seem to be working, but I gotta tell you, I kind of miss actually driving the car. This would be a really fun road to drive on, especially if we had, let's say, something that's a little bit more sporty from the GM lineup, like the Corvette. But it's doing a really good job, and you know what is defined as a good job. It's not bouncing from left to right. It's kind of, you know, driving the way that I would drive, not 100%, but still, you know, kind of keeping me centered in the lane. It's not necessarily slowing down for the turns. And here comes a pretty sharp turn, so let's see if it actually slows down. See, I spoke too soon. We're down to 50, 54, 52, 51, 50. Now, I would take this at the speed limit, and maybe that's because I'm a better driver than the computer. I'm going to go with that. I'm a better driver than the computer because I could take this turn at the speed limit. And now, of course, the issue is that I have a car behind me that is not happy because every time I come around a sharp turn, I slow down. You know what? This thing keeps slowing down now. It's down to 45 miles. The best thing I can say about this car and Super Cruise, not on the highway, but here in the twisties, is it kind of drives like somebody who's just learning to drive. You know, a first-time driver. They're a little afraid of the turns, going too fast around the turn, maybe hitting some animal or some oncoming traffic. So I think the best solution at this point is the only solution if you love driving, and is hit the button, turn it off, floor the accelerator, put it in sport, and drive it like it's meant to be driven. Now, this is how you drive this car. Oh my God, that's a little too quick. But it is fun. Oh yeah. And am I exceeding the speed limit? Of course I'm not exceeding the speed limit. Oddly enough, the speed limit here is 85 miles an hour. Who'd have thunk, Cole? You'd think that in this kind of twisty section of the road it'd be a little bit slower, but it's not. And if you don't believe me, well, you're gonna have to come here and find out for yourself. But now this is driving. This is what this car can do. And you know what? Screw the computer, screw Super Cruise. It's great on the highway, but come on. I mean, this is why I love being an automotive journalist. This is why I love reviewing new cars. And I'm betting if there were a bunch of kiddos back there, they would be having a hoot. And if my wife were over here, well, it would be a whole different situation. She wouldn't be happy. But I am. All right, so let's see what my watch says. We're at 38 feet above sea level, so we made it back down to the lowlands, which I suspect means we're getting close to the coast. And I can't wait to see Cape Meares. Now, I think we're close to Tillamook. Is that, at least Tillamook Creamery, is that right, Cole?
Tillamook's right there.
Oh, we're almost there. That's pretty cool because I'm a huge fan of ice cream. And Tillamook does some really great ice cream. Now, you know, if this were one of those like food travel shows, we'd probably stop by and go grab some ice cream. But because we're here test driving a car, and I think GM probably knows where we're going, they may wonder what we're doing at Tillamook, and I'd have to make excuses about me being fat and hungry and loving ice cream. So if you do come here, I would highly recommend that you go and check out the Tillamook Creamery. It's a pretty big area. It's pretty fun, and they do have a giant restaurant where you can get, in my opinion at least, some of the most, dare I say it, creamiest ice cream around. And I know for all you Ben & Jerry's fans, because I've been up there as well, you might argue that Tillamook is not as good as Ben & Jerry's, but I would say they are both equally delicious. And of course the speed limit here is 30, which I'm doing because I would never break the law. Now you may be wondering how much does all this Buick Enclave goodness cost. The preferred model, which is the entry level, starts at about $46. This one starts at $49 if you get the front wheel drive version. If you get the all-wheel drive version, then you can have it in all-wheel drive as long as you're willing to pay $2,000 more. And I guess here in the winter you could use it. It's about $51, and then if you go up to the Avenir, you're looking at $60,000 plus. And it is available now at your local Buick dealer. And now that concludes our TFL car review. And let's get back to the road trip. The other great thing about hitting rural America is there's just a lot of cool, unique people that live here. Like this guy right next to us. Look at that. I like the dude in the American shorts holding the guitar. So I guess if you want wood, this would be the place to get it. Oh, look at this little Suzuki. A camo Suzuki that says Hummer H4. GM, you may want to, think about it. When you're done building electric Hummers, maybe you could build a little mini Hummer. an H4, apparently. I'd be up for that. I think it would do really well. So we're kind of driving along the coast now. We made it to the Pacific Ocean, and it's just right over there. You can kind of see the waves coming in, and now we're going to go to the Octopus Tree, which Cole tells me is a tree, well, I guess it's the shape of an octopus. Is that right, Cole?
It's just big and yeah.
It's big and weird. And then there's a lighthouse, and we're going to behold the beauty of the Oregon coast. Happy Camp Lookout. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, now the picture's complete. We have a Volkswagen van struggling up the hill. That's about as cliche as it gets. I wonder what's going to happen when the new ID Buzz comes out and all of a sudden it'll have all this electric torque and won't have a little, I don't know if this one has it, but the old ones had that little 1600 cc Beetle engines, and those would always, of course, overheat in the old bus. But this one still struggles. The Vanagon, I think that's a Vanagon. For all you Volkswagen people, let me know. My Volkswagen van game isn't what it should be. But yeah, this feels very 60s. All right, well, maybe that's more like 80s. Oh, more, look at that. Oh my God. The spray coming up from the ocean. Oh, you can smell it. If you could bottle that smell, I'm sure people have tried. You could certainly make a lot of money. You know, Cole, I think this is a rainforest. People think of rainforest as being tropical, kind of in the Amazon jungle, but a rainforest is just what it says. It's a forest where it rains a lot.
Is it temperate rainforest?
Yeah, there you go. He knows his rainforest, temperate rainforest. And this is the parking lot up here for the White House, the lighthouse, and the Octopus Tree. And I'm super excited to see this. And coming from what is basically, like I said, high arid desert, this is pretty badass. Look at this. Oh my God. I'm so excited to see this. All right, we are here. There's one more thing to do in the review, and that is find out what kind of fuel economy we got. So let's find out. Trip. So, trip 1, 95.3 miles, and we averaged 26.2 mpg. Or at least that's what the car got. Current trip, well, that's just a short trip, but that is the entire trip. So that's pretty darn good. That actually beats what the EPA says this car will do. And that's the nice thing about turbos when you don't drive too fast, like I don't. So that's how we got such good fuel economy, because I didn't drive very fast at all. I didn't really. All right, let's go check out the house. Oh yeah, Octopus Tree. Gotta go check it out. Come on, an octopus tree. How cool is that going to be? Cole, thank you for bringing me here. I can't wait to see what an octopus tree looks like. And this damn thing better look like an octopus, or I am going to be very disappointed. Oh, that is so cool. Huh. I've seen some pretty cool trees, but that's got to be one of the coolest trees. A Sitka spruce. Huh. I wonder how old it is. Probably a lot older than we are, Cole. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, there it is. Yeah, 250 to 300 years old. That's incredible. Guys, thanks for joining me and my videographer Cole on this really fun ride. I can see why people love Oregon, and especially Portland and this part of the country. It's just spectacular. I mean, look at that. And the crazy thing is, I could probably live here, Cole. They have very cute dogs. Hi, can I say hi to him?
Sure, he loves people.
What's his name?
Pugsley.
Pugsley. Oh no! Oh, Pugsley, dude.
Priorities.
Hey, dude, how are you? What a cutie. What a cutie. Oh, what a cutie. Well, there you have it, guys. We'll see you next time when you hopefully come Ride along with me again and Cole. Ciao.